The year is 1955, and somewhere on the French Riviera, a car glides past a row of yachts with the top down, chrome catching the Mediterranean sun, and every single head on that boulevard turns at once. That is not an accident. That is not luck. That is what European convertibles of the 1950s were built to do. Stop time, stop traffic, stop your heart for just a second. Today, I'm taking you through the 9 most elegant European convertibles of the 1950s. Machines so beautifully sculpted that some of them are worth more today than entire mansions, cars that were never built, to simply get you from one place to another, but to make sure that when you arrived, the room changed. Some of these were owned by film stars, some were driven by racing legends on their days off. And one of them, the very last car on this list, is so rare and so breathtaking that when it crosses an auction block today, seasoned collectors who have seen everything still stop breathing for a moment. So if beautiful lines, hand-stitched leather, and engines that whispered instead of screamed are your kind of obsession, stay with me, because this is a journey through the most romantic decade the automobile ever had. And if you love this kind of nostalgia, do what any true car lover would do. Hit that like button before we start, because trust me, by the end of this list, you're going to want to relive it. Let's begin. Mercedes-Benz 300 SL Roadster, 1957. If there is one car that could make an entire decade fall in love with the idea of speed dressed in elegance, it was this one. The 300 SL had already become a legend in its gull-wing coupe form, with doors that opened toward the sky like something out of a dream. But when Mercedes decided to build a roadster version, they created something even more desirable. A car that kept every ounce of drama while adding the freedom of open-air motoring. This wasn't just a convertible, it was engineering theater. Under that long, sculpted hood lived a 3.0-liter inline-six engine with mechanical fuel injection, a technology so advanced for its time that most manufacturers wouldn't catch up for another decade, producing around 215 horsepower and capable of pushing this elegant machine past 150 miles per hour on the right stretch of road. The body was hand-formed aluminum in many trims, the seats were wrapped in the finest leather Germany could produce, and every rivet, every seam, every curve was placed with an obsession for perfection that bordered on the spiritual. In 1957, a 300 SL Roadster cost around $11,000, an almost unthinkable sum at the time, equivalent to well over $100,000 today when adjusted for inflation. But that number barely scratches the surface of what this car is worth now. Pristine examples of the 300 SL Roadster today sell for well over $1 million at auction, some crossing the $2 million mark, making it one of the most valuable production cars to ever leave a European factory. It wasn't built for everyone. It was built for those who understood that true luxury sometimes wears a racing engine underneath its elegance. And now I want to know, have you ever seen a 300 SL Roadster in person? Because photographs simply do not do this machine justice. Jaguar XK140 1954. If the 300 SL was German precision dressed in aluminum, the XK140 was British seduction dressed in curves. Jaguar had already stunned the world with the XK120, but by 1954 they refined the formula into something even more graceful, even more desirable, a car that looked like it was sculpted by wind itself. The XK140 kept the long, flowing fenders and the voluptuous hood line that made its predecessor a sensation, but added more comfortable seating, improved steering, and a cabin that finally matched the sophistication of its exterior. This was a car that whispered old money elegance while still being able to embarrass far more expensive machines on a straight road. Underneath that beautifully proportioned hood sat a 3.4-liter dual overhead cam inline-six engine, producing 190 horsepower, an engine so advanced and so smooth that it made rivals from Italy and Germany nervous. It could accelerate from 0 to 60 in under 10 seconds, astonishingly quick for its era. And its top speed hovered close to 120 miles per hour, remarkable for a car this elegant. In period, a well-equipped XK140 Roadster cost around $4,000, which translates to roughly $45,000 today, a price that made it accessible to a wider audience than some of its exotic rivals. Yet it never felt like a compromise. Today, pristine XK140 Roadsters routinely sell for well over $100,000, and rare special-bodied variants can climb dramatically higher. It was the kind of car a gentleman could drive to the opera and then take onto a racetrack the very next morning and somehow look perfectly at home in both worlds. Tell me honestly, would you have chosen British charm over German precision if you were shopping for a convertible in 1954? Alfa Romeo Giulietta Spider, 1955. Some cars are built to be fast. Some are built to be luxurious. And then there are cars built simply to be luxurious. And then there are cars built simply to be fallen in love with. And the Giulietta Spider belongs firmly in that last category. Designed by the legendary Pininfarina studio, this small Italian roadster carried none of the intimidating bulk of its German or British rivals, and yet it captured hearts in a way that few cars ever have. Every line on this car felt intentional, from the gently sloping hood to the delicately curved tail, as if an artist had been given a blank canvas and told to make metal feel like poetry. Under that graceful hood sat a small but eager 1.3-liter twin-cam four-cylinder engine producing around 80 horsepower, numbers that sound modest today but felt thrilling in a car this light and this beautifully balanced. It wasn't about brute power. It was about the way it danced through mountain switchbacks on the Amalfi Coast, the way the engine sang at high revs, the way the wind moved through your hair as the Italian coastline blurred past. In 1955, a Giulietta Spider cost around $3,000, roughly $35,000 in today's money, making it one of the more attainable cars on this list at the time. Yet its charm has only grown more valuable with age. Beautifully preserved examples today can fetch well over $100,000, and the earliest, rarest variants command significantly more from serious Alfa Romeo collectors. This wasn't a car built for the ultra-wealthy alone. It was built for anyone with taste, anyone who understood that elegance doesn't always require excess. And I have to ask, is there anything more romantic than a small Italian roadster on a coastal road at sunset? Ferrari 250 GT Cabriolet, 1957. Now we arrive at a name that needs almost no introduction. A name that even people who know nothing about cars still recognize with a kind of reverence. Ferrari in the 1950s wasn't building cars for the masses. It was building rolling sculptures for the very few who could appreciate them, and the 250 GT Cabriolet stood at the absolute peak of that philosophy. Coach-built in collaboration with Pininfarina, every single 250 GT Cabriolet was essentially handmade, with body panels shaped and reshaped by craftsmen until the proportions were nothing short of perfect. This was a car that didn't need to shout because everyone who saw it already understood exactly what it was. Beneath that impossibly elegant hood sat Ferrari's legendary Colombo V12 engine, displacing 3 liters and producing around 240 horsepower. An engine that didn't just move the car forward, but sang an opera every time the throttle was pressed. Top speed hovered near 130 miles per hour, extraordinary for an open-top touring car of its era. Yet the 250 GT Cabriolet was never about outright speed. It was about the experience, the sound, the sensation of commanding one of the finest engines ever built while cruising through the hills of Tuscany with the top folded down. In 1957, a 250 GT Cabriolet cost around $10,000, which adjusted for inflation comes to roughly $110,000 today. But here is where the story becomes almost unbelievable. Today, well-documented examples of the 250 GT Cabriolet have sold at auction for well over $2 million, with some exceptional examples crossing even higher thresholds, making it one of the most valuable open-top Ferraris of the entire decade. Owning one wasn't just about having a car. It was about joining one of the smallest, most exclusive clubs in the automotive world. And I want to know, if money were no object, would this be the car sitting in your garage right now? Porsche 356 Speedster, 1954. Every list needs a rebel, a car that refused to play by the same rules of excess and grandeur that defined its rivals, and the Porsche 356 Speedster was exactly that. While other European manufacturers were adding more chrome, more weight, more luxury features, Porsches went in the opposite direction entirely, stripping the 356 down to its purest essence to create something lighter, rawer, and arguably more thrilling to drive than almost anything else on this list. The Speedster had a low, raked windshield, minimal weather protection, and bucket seats that felt more like they belonged in a race car than a road car, and that was precisely the point. This was elegance through simplicity, beauty through purpose. Under the rear-mounted engine cover sat a 1.5-liter flat-4 engine producing a modest 55 horsepower, numbers that seem almost laughable by today's standards. Yet the Speedster's astonishingly light weight meant it felt alive in a way that far more powerful cars simply couldn't match. It could dance through corners with a precision and feedback that turned even a simple drive into an event. In 1954, a Porsche 356 Speedster cost around $3,000, or roughly $34,000 today when adjusted for inflation, making it genuinely attainable for enthusiasts rather than only the ultra-wealthy. But time has been extraordinarily kind to this little roadster. Today, pristine original Speedsters routinely sell for well over $300,000, with the rarest examples reaching even higher, a staggering appreciation for what was originally conceived as an affordable, no-frills sports car. It proved something important, that elegance doesn't always need to be loud or expensive to be unforgettable. Have you ever driven a car so simple that it somehow felt more exciting than something twice its price? Lancia, Aurelia Bit 24 Spider, 1955. If there was ever a car that perfectly captured the golden age of Italian coach building, it was the Aurelia Bit 24 Spider, a car so achingly beautiful that it later became one of the most sought-after collector cars in the entire world, immortalized on screen and in the dreams of an entire generation of enthusiasts. Designed by Pininfarina, the 24 Spider featured a wraparound windshield, a low beltline, and proportions so perfectly balanced that automotive historians still study its design language today. This wasn't a car built by committee. It felt like the work of a single visionary hand, every curve flowing naturally into the next. Beneath that gracefully shaped hood sat an aluminum 2.5-liter V6 engine, one of the first production V6 engines in automotive history, producing around 118 horsepower and delivering power with a smoothness that felt almost musical. The Aurelia wasn't the fastest car on this list, but it didn't need to be because everything about the way it drove felt refined, deliberate, and utterly composed. In 1955, an Aurelia Bit 24 Spider cost around $4,500, translating to roughly $52,000 in today's money, positioning it as a genuine luxury purchase, reserved for those with true taste and means. Today, the rarest and most original examples of the 24 Spider have sold at auction for well over $2 million, cementing its place among the most valuable Italian convertibles ever produced. It represents a moment in automotive history when engineering innovation and pure artistic beauty existed in perfect harmony, and very few cars before or since have managed to capture that balance quite so completely. Aston Martin DB24 Drophead Coupe, 1954. There is a certain kind of British elegance that doesn't try to impress you, it simply assumes that you're already impressed, and the Aston Martin DB24 Drophead Coupe embodied that quiet confidence perfectly. Where some cars on this list relied on flamboyant curves or aggressive stances, the DB24 relied on proportion, restraint, and an unmistakable sense of purpose. This was a grand tourer in the truest sense of the word, a car designed to carry its driver in comfort and style across entire countries, not just around a city block. Beneath its long, elegant hood sat a 2.6-liter inline-six engine producing around 125 horsepower, paired with a chassis that had genuine motorsport pedigree, since Aston Martin's competition successes at the time directly informed the engineering of their road cars. It could comfortably cruise at high speed for hours, the kind of car that made a drive from London to the south of France feel less like a journey and more like an occasion. In 1954, a DB24 Drophead Coupe cost around $5,500, roughly $63,000 today when adjusted for inflation, positioning it firmly among the most exclusive British cars available at the time, produced in genuinely small numbers for a clientele that valued discretion as much as performance. Today, well-preserved examples of the DB24 Drophead Coupe can sell for several $100,000, with exceptional cars reaching even higher figures among serious Aston Martin collectors. It was never about being the loudest car in the room. It was about being the car that everyone quietly wished they were driving instead. Mercedes-Benz 190 SL, 1955. Not every elegant car needs to be intimidating, and the 190 SL proved that beautifully. Introduced alongside its more powerful sibling, the 300 SL, the 190 SL, the 190 SL took the same sculpted, sensuous body language and paired it with a smaller, more accessible engine, creating a car that felt just as glamorous but far less demanding to own and drive. It shared that unmistakable Mercedes elegance, the sweeping fenders, the graceful chrome details, the perfectly tailored interior, but wrapped it in a package that a wider range of successful professionals and film stars could actually afford. Under its hood sat a 1.9-liter inline-four engine producing around 105 horsepower. Modest numbers on paper, yet perfectly suited to the car's character as a refined, descendri-bet, relaxed touring convertible rather than an outright sports car. It wasn't about setting lap records. It was about looking effortlessly beautiful while doing absolutely nothing more strenuous than cruising along a coastal highway with sunglasses on and the radio playing softly. In 1955, a 190 SL cost around $3,600, roughly $42,000 in today's money, making it genuinely one of the more attainable European convertibles of true prestige during that decade. Today, beautifully restored examples of the 190 SL routinely sell between $100,000 and $200,000, a remarkable achievement for what was originally marketed as the accessible little sister in the Mercedes lineup. It taught the world something important, that you didn't need a 12-cylinder engine or a six-figure price tag to feel like royalty behind the wheel. Sometimes elegant proportions and a badge that commanded respect were more than enough. Maserati A6 G2000 Spider, 1956. We've saved something truly special for last. A car so rare, so beautifully crafted, and so overlooked by the general public that even many self-proclaimed car enthusiasts have never seen one in person. The Maserati SX-G2000 Spider, bodied by the legendary coach builder Zagato, represents the absolute pinnacle of 1950s Italian exclusivity. A car produced in numbers so small that owning one placed you in a club smaller than almost any other on this entire list. Every panel was shaped by hand, every curve refined through countless hours of craftsmanship, resulting in a body so light and so aerodynamically pure that it looked like it was already moving even while sitting perfectly still. Beneath that stunning aluminum body sat a 2.0-liter inline-six engine derived directly from Maserati's racing program, producing around 150 horsepower, an astonishing figure for such a small displacement engine at the time. And it delivered that power with a razor-sharp, race-bred character that few road cars of the era could match. This wasn't a car built for comfort. It was built for those who understood that true exclusivity sometimes means sacrificing a little practicality for something far more special. In 1956, an SX G2000 Spider with Zagato coachwork cost an almost unfathomable sum for the time, well over $10,000, equivalent to more than $115,000 today, reserved exclusively for Europe's wealthiest and most passionate collectors even then. Today, surviving examples are so rare that when one appears at auction, serious collectors from around the world compete fiercely, with sale prices regularly exceeding $3 million, and some of the most historically significant examples reaching even further into the stratosphere. It stands as perhaps the rarest, most quietly extraordinary car on this entire list, a machine built not for the world to see, but for the very few lucky enough to actually drive it. And there you have it, 9 of the most elegant European convertibles the 1950s ever produced. 9 machines that turned simple transportation into pure emotion, each one telling its own story of craftsmanship, ambition, and unapologetic beauty. Now I want to hear from you. Which one of these 9 convertibles made your heart skip a beat? Was it the raw, race-bred purity of the Porsche Speedster, the operatic power of the Ferrari 250 GT, or the impossibly rare elegance of that Zagato-bodied Maserati that almost nobody has ever actually seen in person? Maybe your grandfather told you stories about one of these cars. Maybe you saw one cruising past when you were young and never forgot it. Or maybe this is the very first time you're discovering just how beautiful this decade truly was. Whatever it is, tell me your story in the comments below, because every single comment helps keep the memory of these rolling masterpieces alive for a whole new generation of car lovers to discover. And if elegance like this speaks to you, if you find yourself drawn to a time when every curve on a car meant something, then make sure you're subscribed, because we're just getting started, and there are so many more stories like this one waiting to be told. Because some cars simply move you from one place to another, but the ones on this list, the ones we just explored together, they moved something else entirely. They moved the soul.